A beautiful day out of Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia as the all-time Cardinals visit the all-time Eagles. Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon on a beautiful 55-degree afternoon and what should be a good one. The 2-6 Cardinals fighting for their playoff lives. The Eagles come in on the heels of a primetime loss to Dallas. They are 4-4. Van Buren the return, and to the field we name him Randall Runningham. His dual threat ability as good as nearly anybody in the league. 63% completions, 1,514 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 4 picks. A dynamic athlete, and Hank, really, his running ability couples with a pretty solid passing arm. He's got among the most passing yards among all quarterbacks in the NFC. And he's back on the first play of the game and is nearly picked off. Incomplete. Here's a look at his offense. The starters, Tommy McDonald and Mike Quick, make a good 1-2 tandem. Retzlaff at tight end, Van Buren and Weaver round out the Philly offense.
I can only imagine being a kid back in the early 90s and like growing up watching Randall Cunningham, whereas when I was growing up, like it was all about Michael Vick. So like it seems like Michael Vick came after Cunningham, and Cunningham was kind of the prototype for Michael Vick.
And here's a look at his running ability. It's a gain of 13 and a first down. Twice runner-up for the NFL MVP. You mentioned in 1988 and 1990. Nicknamed the human joystick, he was a phenomenal football player and a great athlete. He hands to Van Buren to the draw and is wrapped up with a 49 for the gain of 8.
Good to see that Steve Van Buren is getting 8 yards a carry. He seems like he's getting used to the more modern NFL that we have today.
Hall of Famer out of the 1940s, Cunningham dumped for a sack, taken down by Jones. Let's check out the Cardinal defense. Night Train Lane, Larry Wilson, Adrian Wilson, Chandler Jones, and Iannis Williams. The 21st century edition of the Cardinals has very few headline players, but that defense has been bolstered by the many great players of the pre-Super Bowl era, a franchise that dates back over 100 years, the 1920. On third down, they'll bring 5 on the blitz, and Cunningham is sacked again. Pat Fisher, the defensive back, brings him down.
You had mentioned Iannis Williams being a guy who had played for the Rams in the Super Bowl. Not very many people remember that he actually played for the Cardinals and was a very impact player for them too.
Made it to 6 Pro Bowls and a couple of All-Pro selections during his stint in the 90s with the Cardinals. Jones for the touchback, and to the field goes Jim Hart, another classic football player out of the 70s and 80s. 7 touchdowns, but 10 interceptions. He is on the hot seat at quarterback for the Cardinals. And at 2-6, he's going to need a big day today to keep them alive in the postseason picture. His Cardinals line up at their own 20 to begin the game and go run with Otis Anderson, another guy notable for another team, a Super Bowl MVP with the Giants, gains a couple for the Cardinals. Fitzgerald and Green are their lead receivers, Jackie Smith the tight end, and Nevers joins Anderson for the Cardinal offense.
Yeah, but Otis Anderson did have a few successful seasons with the Cardinals, I believe putting up numbers that put him as like the rushing champion in one year in the 80s, I seem to remember.
Ernie Nevers gains 9. Anderson was the 1979 Rookie of the Year and finished top 5 a couple years in rushing. A very solid career, as you mentioned. In fact, better as a Cardinal than he was as a Giant until that remarkable playoff run in 1990. In the middle of the opening quarter, that Cardinal offense, 3rd and inches here at their own 30. They have really struggled on third down this year, but they feature Anderson, who's got the first down.
Sometimes it's really good to just run that pitch if you've got a big back, because rarely ever is a cornerback going to be able to tackle a big back.
Troy Vincent was tasked with the tackle there. On first down, the pass is complete to Roy Green, the league leader in receiving back in 1984. Part of a deep receiving corps for the Cardinals, headlined by, of course, the Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald. Certainly an embarrassment of riches for Hart in this offense, joining Roy Green and David Boston. Hart throws it to Fitzgerald near the first down, listed a yard short.
Larry Fitzgerald is an Eagle killer. I don't care what anybody says. He always brought his A game against the Eagles and always had a really big game. I think the Eagles only beat Larry Fitzgerald once.
Incredible career, and of course many know when these two teams placed in the playoffs in 2009, part of that, or 2008 rather, part of that remarkable playoff run led by Fitzgerald and Kurt Warner. The only Super Bowl appearance that team has ever had, 2008, when the team went 7-9. Ollie Matson on the run, picks up a dozen and a first down.
Yeah, I was at that NFC Championship game, and it felt really good when the Eagles went up by 1, and then I had to watch Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald drive down the field for 8 minutes.
Hart gets rid of it to Green right out the marker, and he's got enough for the first down. Brookshire, one of the star defensive backs in this Philadelphia defense, has sustained a leg injury. We'll give you an update on that as soon as we can. Inside run on a first down to Otis Anderson, and he picks up about 7 on the ground.
Seems like the Eagles are just too small up the middle. They're unable to bring down the bigger back, Otis Anderson, and he's able to get 4 or 5 yards to carry.
Anderson again, and he plunges to the 5. The drive continues for the Cardinals as they feature this guy, the man with the second worst rushing average among starters in the whole league. This is Otis Anderson running wild on this opening drive. Hart looks, throws it to him in the backfield, and he gets decked at the 4. A perfect first quarter from Jim Hart, and at the end of 1, we have no score. Second quarter from Philly right after this. Welcome back to the Link in Philadelphia. Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon, the 2-6 Cardinals with a marvelous drive at Philadelphia. The Eagles come in at 4-4 overall. Anderson on the toss, spins to the goal line, but they rule him a little short. 3rd and goal coming up.
Yeah, you got to be able to plunge it in from the 1. You've been taking the Eagles to task up the middle. Just keep running it up the gut and you'll get it.
Instead, they throw it. Hart under duress. Pressure from Cox goes behind the line, and Green is hammered by Bednarik. Perplexing play call, Hank, and the Cardinals settle for the Jim Bakken field goal.
Seemed like he had a hole up the middle or a crease to run up the gut, but he just decided to throw it backwards. And obviously, the receiver wasn't able to get the amount of yardage needed in order to get into the end zone. So that's kind of a disappointing turn of events as that drive stalled out.
Kickoff down for a touchback. The Cardinals are the worst red zone offense in football, and the red zone offense, which had plagued them in so many games during their 5-game losing streak, rears its head again here. Just a 3-0 lead for Arizona St. Louis. First down, Cunningham is back. The pressure from Jones, and he got him at the 15.
Yeah, the Cardinals were just crowding the line up, making it impossible for Randall Cunningham to step up in the pocket. So what a great play and game plan for them here.
Inside handoff to Van Buren, spilled at the 20. A 3rd down coming up, and the Eagles this season are 41%, a successful year in converting 3rd downs. A lot of that due to the outstanding play of their quarterback, Randall Cunningham. They need the 30. Cunningham on the blitz, goes deep downfield, tipped and incomplete. Knocked away by Night Train Lane.
Not going to help you when you throw into double coverage like that. Cunningham is real lucky that wasn't intercepted.
A 3-and-out for the Eagles. In comes Donnie Jones, who drives it deep downfield. Top 5 in punt average in the whole league, and it looks like it on that play. A flag is down. DRC commits the holding penalty. That'll back them up 10 yards. So the NFC East is one that may come down to the final week of the year. As you look at the standings, Dallas, who plays Buffalo today, is a 1-game lead on Philly and the all-time Giants. Washington, who started the year 3-0, has lost 5 in a row. They have a tough matchup in Miami this week. This division, separated by 2 from top to bottom, is filled with phenomenal championship franchises, Hank.
Well, yeah, it's the NFC East, the only division in the NFL right now that actually has teams with Super Bowls. All 4 of them have won them.
Yeah, the Eagles have made it to 4 Super Bowls, among the most in the National Football League. Only 12 teams have more than their 4 Super Bowl trips. A terrific franchise in their own right. Hart lost the ball, but it's recovered by his lineman back at the 17-yard line, Ken Gray. A look at that play again, led by Concrete Charlie, Chuck Bednarik.
It's very lucky that the Cardinals had one guy back who was able to recover that fumble, because if the Eagles had, it would have been a really bad situation for Arizona/Phoenix.
Westbrook with a great return out to the 46. And you mentioned this Cardinals franchise is historic. They were one of only the 2 teams in the National Football League established in 1920, which still exist today. They moved to Chicago, to Phoenix, and then in the mid-90s, they were rebranded to the Arizona Cardinals. Not much success in the pre-Super Bowl, or rather during the Super Bowl era, but they did win NFL titles, one in 1925 and their other in 1947.
Interesting fact about the Cardinals, their first championship ever won was against the Pottsville Maroons, and they only won that championship because the Pottsville Maroons had to suspend play, so they were disqualified. So they won a championship via disqualification.
What? How do you know this, Hank?
I think it was during the COVID year I looked this information up.
Oh boy, what a time to be alive. Steve Van Buren, another pre-COVID era player, in fact, may have been pre-swine flu era, picks up about 8 on the ground. Steve Van Buren, a 5-time All-Pro and a NFL champion of the 40s. LaShawn McCoy, a new era kid, gains a yard. 3rd and 1 coming up.
Number 26 with the carry on the play.
In the first championship that Steve Van Buren helped the Eagles win, he actually was late to the game because it snowed that day against the Cardinals, and he almost didn't show up to the game because he thought that it would get canceled because of the snow.
That's awesome. We was on time for this game today, and on 4th and 3, he'll flank Cunningham at the 35-yard line. Cunningham and the Eagles go for it. The pass is complete to Harold Carmichael, spun out by Peterson. That's a gamble that the all-time Eagle coach Andy Reid was accustomed to making during his run in the 2000s. A gamble that works, and Philly has a first down to the 28. Draw to Van Buren. Wrapped up by Dockett and Jones at the 22.
Number 15, the ball carrier. Gain of 6 on the play.
2nd down, and the Eagles drive continues on the heels of the Cardinal 3 and out. A run to McCoy. He's at the 10 and is in the end zone. Touchdown.
Great job. LaShawn McCoy sees a crease up front, usually known for going around the outside, but he's able to cut on a dime and just sprint himself to the end zone. Excellent job by LaShawn McCoy as he's able to get the Eagles a 3-point lead pending the extra point.
And that extra point is good. First rushing touchdown of the season from Shady McCoy, the all-decade teamer of the 2010s in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He may even get inducted overall one day. He was that good as a 2-time All-Pro to Pittsburgh. 7-3, his rushing touchdown lifts the Eagles in front. Green the return, and he's down to the 20. The Eagles, Sheldon Brown with the stop.
Really interesting that we have Steve Van Buren and McCoy in the same backfield, because Steve Van Buren set all these records with the Eagles just for McCoy to break them all.
And it took until McCoy to break it. Wilbert Montgomery, Brian Westbrook, and Leonard Weaver also in this offense, and all phenomenal football players. Hart throws into traffic, and that is swatted away with ease by Eric Allen.
Eric Allen's got to intercept that ball. Eric Allen, basically all he did was catch interceptions for touchdowns. That was an easy one right into the basket.
Had 4 of those in 93, second most all time. Hart with a minute to go in the half, deep to a wide open Roy Green. If you don't intercept a pass, then plays like that can happen to the back end. It's like missing a layup in basketball. The Cardinals get a shot, and they take advantage. A first down upcoming at the 48-yard line with 1 timeout to go. Hart throws to Smith, and he picks up about 10 on the play. That is Hall of Famer Jackie Smith with his first catch of the day, 20th of the year. Under a minute now, Hart throws to David Boston. He breaks a tackle at the 30 and goes all the way. Touchdown.
Touchdown, Arizona.
What I always say is that if you don't get an easy interception, the other team usually always ends up scoring points on you.
And for David Boston, he shook a tackle of Asante Samuel with ease and goes all the way for 6. A look at Samuel on this play, and he provided very little resistance.
Yeah, it almost seemed like they were playing in a zone, and no one was covering David Boston's zone. Obviously, this is the Cardinals' rendition of David Boston because it's certainly not the Chargers' rendition of David Boston.
Yeah, certainly from off-the-field issues to his inability to stay healthy made a major problem for them as this kick is down for a touchback. David Boston led the whole league in receiving in 2001. Meanwhile, David Akers led the league in so many seasons in field goal makes, along of 57. And for the Eagles, a phenomenal player that, given any spot at around the 40, is capable of tying the game. First down, they'll first lean on Van Buren, wrapped up by Jones at the 24.
Again, the Madden logic of running a play, running the ball up the middle with less than a minute left in the half and calling a timeout.
And it looks like they'll do it again. It is a first down. And the Eagles will spread it out. Maybe they will throw the ball. They just need to see that first down go through, and indeed they will. Cunningham unloads to Carmichael. Wrapped up at the 38. A check down, Hank.
Yeah, it's a check down, but it's better than a 4-yard run up the middle, I guess.
And now they're out of timeouts.
Yeah, exactly.
So here we go. Cardinals rush forward, deep over the middle. Carmichael's got it, and he spilled at the 32. And Hank, you're going to love this. They're not running a no-huddle, but they'll still get a field goal off anyways. 49-yard attempt from David Akers, who is perfect on field goals this year, and he hits it. 17 for 17 out of Akers. The Eagles sneak in some late points, and we're tied at 10 at halftime. We've got the second half coming up next from Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. We're tied at 10. Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon were back for the beginning of the second half. Not quite the conditions of that 1948 championship game. Hank mentioned Steve Van Buren almost missed. A beautiful 55-degree crystal clear day from eastern Pennsylvania. So with the game tied at 10, it's a matchup of two teams that are desperate for the playoffs in the all-time roster franchise. Eagles are just on the outside looking in at 4-4. Cardinals need a big game out of that guy, and they've got it. Otis Anderson for the first down.
Yeah, I mean, you go to the end of the half. When you score at the end of the half, you're more successful than teams that aren't able to do so. And I mean, Andy Reid had some balls there by calling 2 running plays and basically 2 passing plays, being able to kick a field goal without spiking the ball.
Yeah, it was incredible how he did. I don't think I've seen many do that as of late. Hard to also lose when you rush the passer like the Eagles has as of late. Incomplete, and the Cardinals, who are one of the worst third down offenses in football at a lowly 36%. They've got a long way to go on 3rd and 15. They did go 2 for 4 in the first half. Hard to convert when Reggie White comes in unblocked. There is one of the ministers of defense with the sack to end the Cardinal drive.
Yeah, you definitely have to account for Reggie White. He's a Hall of Fame defensive end. Played amazingly for 2 different franchises, including a Super Bowl with one of them. You got to play him better than that.
Westbrook to the 43. Reggie White of the all-time Eagles and J.J. Watt of the all-time Texans are tied for the league lead in sacks with 9 each. Cunningham throws that one outside the reach of McDonald.
I think that might have been a smart incomplete pass, because it seemed like if he had thrown it any further forward, it might have been intercepted.
This is a stingy Cardinal secondary. Cunningham goes deep to Quick. First down as he beat Eunice Williams. Cunningham's numbers not very impressive throwing the ball. That's really his best play of the day. First down, Philly.
And they left him wide open too. Nobody covering that zone. And you just leave it wide open for a guy who can get yards fast. There's a reason why they call him Mike Quick.
On the carry.
Now, Mike Quick is third in the league. He's averaging over 22 yards a catch this season, and for all fans of the Eagles, that is not a very big surprise. Cunningham off the play fake, looks and throws across his body, and Eunice Williams has picked him off. He's got a curtain call to the end zone. He's to the 50, the 40, and Williams is finally shoved out by Van Buren on a great return.
Here's a lesson to all of you kids trying to play quarterback. Throwing across your body is something you should never do, probably unless your name is Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. When that happens, the other side of the field gets extremely narrow, allowing for defensive backs to make interceptions like that.
Anderson stuffed by Allen at the line of scrimmage. Now, if you're going to throw across your body, another problem, if you're not Mahomes or Rodgers, is that there's a Eunice Williams on the other side of the field who quietly is one of the greatest DBs in NFL history. His 55 picks ranked 10th on the all-time INT list. You had mentioned it. He was known for his Super Bowl run with the Rams, but in Arizona and Phoenix, that guy was phenomenal. Blitz, third down, Hart to the end zone, and it was more like a throwaway, incomplete. Off the Williams interception, the Cardinals could do nothing with it. To salvage the drive, this is Jim Bakken, who's good on the chip shot, and the Cardinals have taken the lead.
The field goal attempt is good.
Well, the Eagles are insanely lucky for allowing a field goal on that drive when it could have easily been a pick six. Or if the Cardinals had had a better offense, it could have easily been a touchdown.
Especially in the red zone. The Cardinals' red zone offense all year has been a major problem, scoring on just 62% of their red zone trips. A couple of field goals on their red area drives today, 13-10. Cunningham shoots it to Mike Quick, who sheds a tackle and another. There's Quick in a foot race, and he's going to win that every time. 79 yards, touchdown, Philadelphia.
Once again, what did I say? There's a reason why he's called Mike Quick. You got to make a better tackle there for the Arizona/St. Louis Cardinals, because he just was way too powerful to even get around that arm tackle. And once he got into the open field, no one's catching him from behind.
Extra point is good. Hard to believe it is just the first touchdown catch of the year from Quick, and this crowd is loving it as he goes over 100 yards on that grab and over 550 for the year. Eagles take a 17-13 lead, and this kickoff sails in the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing, seeing as though he's got a large yards per catch average, but maybe, it's a situation where he's getting to the red zone or inside the 5 and unable to get a touchdown off of those big plays.
Green on the sideline, gains a couple on that catch. Jim Hart today, 11 of 15 for 124 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown recipients of so many McDonald red zone throws, or many Cunningham red zone throws, have been to Tommy McDonald. Quick just hasn't gotten the end zone targets. Anderson for the gain of 7.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and the fact that Tommy McDonald was just a much better fade receiver for the Eagles.
Hall of Famer out of the 50s from Oklahoma, Ollie Matson on the call. He was a Hall of Fame back out of the 50s too, and he picks up the first down for Arizona, St. Louis.
Very good spot by the officials. Seemed like at least the nose of the ball had gotten past the first down marker. Smart job by the Cardinals running it up the gut on 3rd and 1. I hate it when teams don't do smart things like that.
Hart guns it to the sideline for Boston. A well-run route and a first down, gain of 13.
And it was also well covered by the defensive back as well. I think that was Asante Samuel, just barely late getting to the ball there.
Gut run to Otis Anderson, and he gains about 5 where Fletcher Cox makes the stop. The Cardinals receiving core hampered with the injury to Anquan Bolden, but they do get a break. Philadelphia has their starting safety, Tom Brookshire, sustained a season-ending fractured foot. And you and I were there as Ollie Matson picks up 20 and a first down. You and I were there in the opener against the Rams when Brian Dawkins suffered a back injury. He's been out throughout the year. The Eagles secondary has been very thin now with these injuries, and the Cardinals are enjoying a good day offensively as a result. Metcalf to the line. End of 3. More on this in the 4th as the Eagles nurse a 4-point lead in Philadelphia. Some injuries and poor play defensively for the Eagles as of late have hurt them in the last few games, but not today due to a stellar performance out of Cunningham of the offense as they lead at home 17-13. Fitzgerald with a circus catch and a gain of 9.
Yeah, that was a great play over the middle. He was well covered, and he was able to make the catch like he usually is against the Eagles.
Fitzgerald to the 8, first down.
The situation where you got to cover the middle of the field if you're the Eagles, and if you're the Cardinals, just make sure you see Larry Fitzgerald open over the middle and get him as many balls as possible because he's just an impact player.
Number 32 on the run.
Larry Fitzgerald, like you say, he has been great against the Eagles, but he's really been good against everybody. 11-time Pro Bowler and the second all-time leading receiver in NFL history. Only Jerry Rice with more yards. A touchdown in the red zone. The Cardinals have struggled with that all year. Ollie Matson has given the Cardinals a lead late in the 4th.
I think there's some stat that says that Larry Fitzgerald has more missed games than he does drop passes or something like that.
More tackles than drop passes too.
He has more tackles than drop passes. Yes, that's the statistic. And that's just that's Hall of Famer mentality right there. A guy who is always going to be reliable. Even if he's not open, he's always free to catch the ball.
Another guy, the all-time roster franchise, our dear friend Phil Nunziata, he makes his case for Larry Fitzgerald being the second greatest receiver ever behind Jerry Rice. You got T.O., Randy Moss, Don Hudson, some great competition, but Fitzgerald was just slow and steady every week for the Cardinals. Dansby with the tackle on a gain of 3.
Well, I think that speaks a lot towards Larry Fitzgerald's mentality because that era started to become an era of diva receivers where you had T.O. and Randy Moss who were me type guys, but Larry Fitzgerald was really a player's player. You never heard anything negative out of the mouth of Larry Fitzgerald. He was always kind to everybody, always very stoic, and a guy that you really wanted to play with and really made your team better.
Yeah, it seems like he was the end of an era. Him and Marvin Harrison were in that era, and then they were superseded by guys, certainly no offense, but guys like Antonio Brown and others who were a bit more boisterous in their day in the NFL, and that seems to be the present day of how things are in the National Football League. Fitzgerald's been productive. The Cardinals' offense has been rolling, and late in the game, they've got the ball and the lead. Check down to David Boston, who's played well. Wrapped up at the 50, a gain of 7.
You did mention Marvin Harrison, but there were a few off-the-field issues that Marvin Harrison had that I'm not going to alleged incidents that I'm not going to repeat. But his
sure
son
did
is
bury that. I didn't know that.
yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that.
All
The
right.
viewers at home can Google it.
Well, Fletcher Cox certainly was slow and steady on the field as well. He's in there for the sack, his third of the year. Third down. Ollie Matson buried by Bednarik, who's been busy today, and the Eagles are going to get the ball back.
Well, it seems like if the Eagles are able to get the Cardinals in a long distance situation, that they're not able to handle it, and will usually go to a fourth down to stall the drive out.
And that was a critical third down stop that they had. Philly gets another shot after the offense went 3 and out on their last possession. This could be their last chance, considering how well the Cardinals have run the ball today. Nearly 100 yards on the ground for them. Over the middle to McDonald. A good idea to target him. First grab of the day and a first down.
Tommy McDonald, Mighty Mouse. He's a
Maverick.
reliable receiver for the Eagles.
His 29th catch of the year to lead the team. Cunningham tucks it and runs and picks up a couple. Only Lamar Jackson of the Ravens and Cam Newton of the all-time Panthers have more rushing yards among quarterbacks in the all-time roster franchise than Cunningham, and that is not much of a surprise considering his ability. 4-man rush. The pass is complete to Retzlaff going into the 2-minute warning.
One thing I've noticed is the fact that Randall Cunningham really hasn't run that much in this game, and that's a testament to how the Cardinals have been playing him.
Led up front by Eric Swan, Simeon Rice, and Darnell Dockett, that 3-man defensive line for him. Over the middle, Carmichael gains 9. Patrick Peterson with the tackle. 2-minute drill for Randall Cunningham. He's looking. Pressure's coming. Cunningham will tuck it, and there's plenty of room to run. The 30, and is wrapped up just inside the 20-yard line by Baker.
You're Randall Cunningham, you got to make sure you slide there, because anything could happen. You could get an injury, and that would be bad for your team.
And that pass is just a little short of a touchdown to Mini Maverick. A look at that play. The run from Cunningham one more time.
Yeah, as you can see, Randall Cunningham sees green field ahead of him. I think he was listening to me when I said that, he wasn't running enough.
Yeah, a couple timely runs in a row. Now the Eagles have a shot to grab the late lead. McCoy, who scored a touchdown earlier, down to the 15. Timeouts for both teams with a bit over 1:10 to play in the game. Cunningham unloads, and Retzlaff had the first down but dropped it.
Seemed like Cunningham had room to run and to get that first down, but it seemed like he went for the pass instead.
McNabb the hold, and Akers hits the field goal. While they do tie the game, Hank, that's got to be frustrating how the drive ended there.
Yeah, I mean, seeing as though Cunningham had been money running the ball and he had done well passing the ball over the middle, seemed like they decided that they were going to go for the sideline instead, and that might have led to the incomplete pass.
Credit to David Akers, who's been phenomenal this season on field goals. The man who was selected to 5 Pro Bowls as a steady field goal kicker for them for a decade in the 2000s. Hits the tying kick, 1:03 left in the game, and Jim Hart and the all-time Cardinals have a chance to sneak out of here with a win. They're going to need a long drive with 1:03 to go. From their own 15, blitz is coming, and Troy Vincent forces a fumble, and that very easily could have been an Eagle recovery.
Yeah, it's the second fumble of Hart here, and the Eagles were unable to get the ball back.
Big sack first of the year from Vincent, who nearly got another. Outcut to David Boston, and he was wide open.
Yeah, it was a blitzing cornerback trying to get the quarterback and unable to get to the quarterback, so the quarterback found the receiver.
They run that same blitz, Hank, 3 times in a row, and mixed results. 50 seconds to go in a thrilling football game. We're tied at 20. The Eagles snagged the third quarter lead on the Mike Quick touchdown and have watched their defense stay on the field a majority of the fourth quarter.
And if I'm the Cardinals, I'm trying to test these cornerbacks, but it seems like that's not happening.
No chance. Reggie White with the last sack. Fletcher Cox with the sack there. Third sack by the Eagle defense today. Reggie White with one, Seth Joyner with the other. And the Cardinals will punt. Cam Murillo drives this one deep to Westbrook with the 28. And he is run out of bounds by Baker at the 39. Philadelphia, Hank, has a glimmer of hope here with 26 seconds to go.
Well, if I know anything about Andy Reid, he'll probably run 2 running plays, call both of his timeouts, and then pass the ball for a field goal.
Well, he decided to shake it up there. A gain of 6 to Harold Carmichael, Hall of Famer from Southern, who is a star wideout out of the 80s. Has the all-time Eagle record for yards and touchdowns at wideout. Cunningham goes deep. Retzlaff the catch. Maybe runs. Wouldn't have been as good as this. As now with just a few seconds left, Hank, they're going to call a timeout down the stretch here. They'll set up Akers to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, great pass over the middle. They ran a vertical play. Let's see what Akers does.
On the way, and the kick is no good. We are headed to overtime. Devastating end to regulation, 20-20 from Philadelphia. Welcome back. Let's check out that field goal again, Hank. That wasn't just no good. He really hooked that one.
Yeah, that's worse than a Scott Norwood field goal. And you can see Arizona Cardinals players, they're just celebrating that one.
At least Scott Norwood missed it with the ball on the right hash. He hooked it right with the ball on the left. Matson to begin overtime. First overtime game of the season for both the Cardinals and the Eagles. Reddick with the stop, and Jim Hart and company have the ball to begin OT. The Cardinals, who with a loss would fall to 2-7, and that may be too much to overcome for them this year. The Eagles, meanwhile, they really got to win as well, but they have a little more breathing room. Incomplete, and a second down coming up for the Cardinals. Empty formation for them at the 20-yard line. Nick Rice, Hank Cinnamon, a thriller from Philadelphia. Hart unloads over the middle to Moore and makes his first grab of the day in a gain of 6.
Completes the pass. Gain of 6.
What I always say, you drop an interception, don't allow points.
Yeah. Hart throws it away. Incomplete, and the Cardinals go 3 and out.
That looked like a miscommunication. Maybe he was thinking that there was going to be a screen available, but man, that was just a bad play.
Westbrook on a hop from the 17-yard line is spun down at the 34. Thrilling football game today. We're early in overtime from the Link in Philadelphia. Eagles next week, back in the division. They'll visit the Giants. Cardinals, meanwhile, continue their road swing with a visit to San Francisco. Cunningham on first down, throws to Quick, who's got the first down, then dropped it. Incomplete.
You gotta come down with that if you're Mike Quick. You gotta come down with that. That's an easy pass.
Took a hit from Peterson. The man was otherwise had a brilliant day. Couldn't hang on to that one. Van Buren stuffed in the backfield by Chandler Jones, who's having a great game.
Loss of 3.
3rd and 12 at the 31-yard line. Cunningham back and fires it deep. Pete Pihos makes the catch and is taken down inside the 25. First drive of the day, and it's a gain of 47, setting up the Eagles for a chance to win the game.
And if they want to kick the field goal here, it's definitely within David Akers' range, but after that shank, maybe you want to get closer. I don't know.
Looks like they're going to settle for the field goal here. Akers to win the game, and he got it. A dose of redemption for David Akers. The Eagles win it in overtime. For the rest of our outstanding broadcast crew from Lincoln Financial Field, Hank Cinnamon and Nick Rice, so long from Philadelphia. Randall Cunningham, who throws for 260, ran for another 45. Knocks out the Cardinals in overtime. Philadelphia 23, Arizona, St. Louis, 20.